Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another coffee rant with Dano and Frank, our Patriot Bald Eagle. First, let me say that my thoughts and prayers go out to all of the families involved from the plane crash in Washington, D.C. Flying into Ronald Reagan Airport, Black Hawk helicopter with 3 military personnel crashes into the American Airlines flight of 64 people. And it looks to be that all have perished. My thoughts and prayers are strongly with you and your families of everyone involved. A lot of you have been tagging me over the last 12 hours and sending comments and emails wanting me to see what I had to say about this. And I felt it was important that we did all talk about this. It's a tragedy, an absolute tragedy. From what we've seen and heard, it looks like it is something that could have very easily been prevented. And I think that is the very hard thing to take in, is that this could have been easily prevented. I woke up this morning. Jessica had woke me up. I was finishing working last night. My mom had actually sent me a text message, and I actually slept pretty good last night, and I didn't hear Mom's message. Jessica wakes me up this morning while turning on the TV. I'd fallen asleep in my recliner, and I see, right as she gets me up, or right as I get, she asks me, she says, "Have you seen this?" And I wake up, because I could tell in her voice, I was like, something happened, and I see the helicopter fly into the plane. And guys, I'll tell you what, I was like freaking out. Still, okay, it's just my thoughts going on in my head when I first saw this was 9/11. I immediately asked her, I said, "Is anything else going on? Have you checked other stations? What else is going on?" There wasn't much information. She said that it was a Black Hawk helicopter, which is a U.S. helicopter, carrying, that they were doing some kind of practicing exercise. And not much information. Let me give the date here. It is January 30th, 2025 at about 4:45 p.m. Okay, just for point of reference here, because I'm going to go over the things that we've talked about and seen, me and Jess have talked about and seen over the last few hours. So there could be more, and there will be more information developing probably right here as I'm sitting here talking to you guys. Again, and I can't stress this enough, I can only imagine getting that phone call, being a parent of someone on the flight, or a family member, a husband, a wife, a loved one, getting that phone call. Oh boy, I'll tell you, when the news sometimes can kind of mix things around. That's why I don't like watching too much of the news, but it's hard not to, you know what I mean? Because they got all the footage and coverage and everything going on. You want to see what's going on. But I'll tell you what, guys, this morning when I woke up from that, it was like my stomach was like gripping itself. All I could think of was, what is going on? Like, waking up to something like that, it took me right back to 2001. And I just, and this is not, this is not any less disturbing, okay? This is terrible, especially that we're sort of finding out that this could have easily been preventable. I feel like during these times, everybody wants to point the finger at something, whether it's air traffic control, whether it was the plane, or whether it was the helicopter itself that looked like it was flying way higher than it should have been. I don't know. We've heard a lot of different things. I don't know which one is true. I'm sure maybe we'll find out in the upcoming days. I know as of 4:45 p.m., as in the recording of this, they have not found the black box. 27 bodies have been recovered. And I'll tell you, I'm surprised that even has happened, because the way they hit, I mean, it all I saw in the sky was smoke. I mean, and you see parts of the plane in the river. And I'm going to be careful of the things I say, because in case a family member or friend or someone of one of the families involved is watching this, I don't want to, upset you or anything like that. So any kind of speculation or anything, everybody's going to have their own opinions. Everybody's going to have their own speculation. Feel free to let us know down in the comments. Just make sure you keep it PG-13. We heard officials come out and speak earlier. I feel like a lot of this is early, very early, to start making speculations and pointing the fingers. Sure, we all want answers, but we want to make sure that the answers we get are correct and not a mistake. Because this, being what seems to be a mistake, could have easily been prevented. If you have not seen the crash, it's all over the news. It's all over. It's not funny, okay? But the funny thing with Jess is, like, how come nobody else was showing this? We were watching it on BBC, which is a British network. And it's like, well, why aren't our channel showing this? And then all of a sudden they started showing it, and it was like, oh, okay. But either way, whatever. This is just so sickening. And when you hear these things, when you hear, oh, it was air traffic control's fault, or it was the helicopter's fault, or it was this person's fault, it's like, there's a couple things we needed to know, okay? A lot of people have perished in this, okay? A lot of families are watching your news networks right now. Let's show some compassion, I hate it when I see some journalist or some news anchor or somebody that say, they literally say things, and then they turn around and then they say something very derogatory, and it's like, wow, okay, so the compassion you had in your voice was completely fake, and everybody in the world just saw you do it. I don't know. I've been watching this all day, guys. I've been watching because I knew, we were starting to get some emails and people were tagging me and Jess in different things. And I was like, okay, I want to talk about it. Don't really have much information, right? All the information we have is what we've been gathering off of the television. So I'm just the messenger here. I'm just here to share my condolences, my heartfelt compassion for everyone that was involved. It is a downright tragedy, and and the whole thing is that the one content within every conversation, whether you think there's a bunch of bullcrap or not, that people are saying, there's always a grain of truth. Always. There's always a little piece of dust that there's truth there. And the one truth that I've gotten out of this whole thing is that this could have been prevented. And there's a lot of things that could have prevented it. The one thing me and Jessica were talking about, it's like, even on cars these days, okay, on cars, they build cars with the mirrors, right? With the side mirrors on the sides. They got the little blinking lights with the little yellow lights, so you know that if a car's over there in your blind spot. You're telling me that a Black Hawk helicopter doesn't have some fail-safe protocol? You're about to run into a plane. Hey, helicopter just takes over and just stops. We don't have that kind of technology. We have cars that can drive themselves. We have cars that use the same blinker system to know that there's a car over in the other lane. I promised myself I wasn't going to get too excited, but I'm trying to paint a picture here of how having all this technology in a very, very well developed Black Hawk helicopter. I don't know, guys. It really is sickening that we have all this technology, and I'll leave some things out of this because there's a lot of things that this could be. And I don't want to talk about some of the things of speculation that some people have been saying, because like I said, there could be people that are watching this video right now that have families involved, and I'm not going to be speculating and throwing out all these other things that the news keeps throwing out there to scare the hell out of people. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry. Drinking Dunkin'. More of a lighter coffee. Frank, it's a sad day. Frank's out there flying with his buddies. I don't know. We were speculating everything, guys. When we woke up, our first thoughts, Jessica's first thoughts, my first thoughts is it looked deliberate. It looked like this helicopter flew into this plane on purpose. I'm not saying that's what happened, okay? But when you look at it, when you watch it, that is exactly what it looks like. That is exactly what it looks like. I'm and just trying to imagine all of the technology involved. The hey, push a button, hey, stop. And here in the coming days, there will be some answers. There better be. There better be. Better be some answers. There better be. Because I'll tell you what, this is, the biggest tragedy in the air since 9/11. At least that's what the news is saying. And it is. 67 souls perished in this. That could have, from what they say, easily been prevented. How do you think that makes the families feel? When you got all these people in there, well, it could have easily been prevented. We don't know what happened. This is something that should have never happened. Basically saying the same things we said. It could have just stopped. It could have flown down. It could have been down 100 feet and within a couple seconds. How do you think that makes the families feel? That is why speculation can be bad. Even me saying that it looked, I'm just saying what we saw on TV. It looked like the helicopter just made a beeline for the plane. Now we know that that's not what happened. At least we hope that is not what happened. But we don't have the information. We don't have the information. A lot of people pointing the finger at air traffic control. Well, air traffic control, like we heard, like most of you probably heard on the news earlier, they have to have a pretty solid, because their job doesn't end. When an event like this happens, their job doesn't end. They have to continue. They have to continue with all of the other flights in the air. So, whether if it was something to do with air traffic control, well, hopefully we find out later. But don't forget, they're like a surgeon in a way. We were hearing about they have to be really smart people. Well, sure, it's not just about being smart. It's that you have to be like a surgeon. Say you're a doctor and you perform a surgery and your patient dies on the table. I hate to put it like this, but you have to move on to the next person that you're trying to save. And your soul, I don't know how they do it. I just can't imagine being a doctor or something like that, or a surgeon, right? But I'm trying to put a good idea of what, and I'm not, the way I'm comparing an air traffic control person to a surgeon is this happens, but hey, I still got 10 other flights that I got to watch here real quick and could you imagine seeing something like that? All of a sudden, if, like me and what happened in 2001, I'm checking everything. Whoa, this just happened. I'm checking everything. And as to where they should know that information already, well, I don't know what information they all know. All I know is that they have to remain focused because there's a lot of other planes and stuff in the air. So, and because I know they were talking about, how they got to be some of the best and some of the psychology and stuff in it. Well, isn't that really what it is? If something happens, your heart, because you can't help it. If you're human, if you have human feeling, right, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel that. Like that surgeon who lost your patient, you're going to feel that. But here I got another guy that's trying to survive. That I have to help this person. I have to go from this to this. And, I'm just trying to, I guess in some ways I try to make sense of everything, right? I try to make sense of everything. And I don't know if what I'm saying is, it sounds right in my head, in the Nano head, it sounds right here, but, it could be, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I do know that they do deal with a lot of stress. Air traffic controllers deal with a lot of stress. They're constantly eyes focused, laser focus. So, anyway, guys, again, my heart and soul and my everything goes out to the families and to the people who perished in the American Airlines flight and the Black Hawk helicopter. I don't know. We just have to move forward at this point. We have to move forward and make sure that we are doing a better job of this never happening again in the future. All these different technologies and stuff that we have, the little blinker system and stuff to where you can see the peripheral vision and all that stuff, all those computers should have been kicking into gear, and we need to find out why they didn't. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.